So we're starting a new series this week. It's called Shipwrecked. Anyone know what shipwrecked means? Normally, yes, absolutely. But does anyone know what it means when referring to the series? Anyone here earlier or Saturday? Oh, okay, yes, exactly. So ship is short for relationship. If you see the apostrophe, that takes place of relation. And so we're talking about how without God being the center of our relationships, those relationships will be wrecked. Cool? We're going to be going through friendships, dating, your relationship with your parents, and just like relationships with everyone. But today, we're going to be talking about friendships. So I thought it was only right, since we're talking about friendships, that I take you guys on a little trip down memory lane with me and embarrass myself a little bit, because we're going to show you guys some pictures of me when I was your age as a junior higher, along with my 3 best friends. You guys ready? Yeah. Try not to laugh at me too much. You can laugh a little, but don't bully me, okay? All right, first picture we have is of me at an all-nighter, I think. That's me in junior high, a little old 8th grader. With my sweet braces. I had braces for like 5 years. Braces suck. Anybody have a palate expander? Yes, it's the worst, right? Every night there was this device that went up in the roof of your mouth, and you had to crank it to make it bigger every night, and it just slowly expanded the roof of your mouth. It sucked. I had that for a long time. Next picture are the pictures of my friends and what they looked like back then. This is one of my best friends. His name is also DJ, but to avoid confusion, we call him by his last name, which is Matos. So he goes by Matos. The next guy, we have Gordy Nixon. He's actually the junior high pastor at the Ramona campus. For those of you guys that have ever been up there or been to that program, that's Gordy. He also had braces. We all had braces, I think. Next one, I believe, is JJ. This guy's name is JJ. He works at Chick-fil-A in Oceanside. Rad dude. These were my 3 best friends in junior high. We got a couple more photos of us hanging out together. That's me and Gordy with our small group leader, who also happened to be Gordy's dad. We were all in the same small group. We went to church together. We did sports together. We did everything together. That's another picture at Chaos, which is the Fallbrook North Coast Junior High program. Yeah, you've been to Chaos? Chaos is the best. It's still run by Kristen, she was my pastor back then, and she's still the junior high pastor there. Super awesome, great program. That's where I was able to do crazy stuff like this. I don't totally know the context of this photo. I think we just found a costume drawer. That does say Twitch. For those who don't know, my nickname when I was younger was Twitch, because I used to involuntarily wink. I would blink one eye. I still do it today. It's very rare, but sometimes you might catch me blinking with one eye. I promise you I'm not winking at you. I'm not trying to tell you a secret. It's my Twitch, and that was my nickname. So we all signed our nicknames. You see in the bottom right, it says Daddy Longlegs. That was Matos' nickname. It's because he was tall and really skinny and slender, so he had just these really uncoordinated and big arms, so we call him Daddy Longlegs. And then Gordy's signature is in the top left. I have no idea what he's wearing, but that's a G-Man. We called him G-Man for obvious reasons. And then the cool thing is being in small groups together, doing student leaderships together, doing sports teams together, we were able to create this super close friendship that lasted throughout high school. We all graduated together, except for Matos, who didn't graduate. I'm just kidding. He graduated, but he went to a different school, so he didn't graduate with us. This was our graduation ceremony. And the awesome part is we kept this friendship going, and we were actually a part of all of each other's weddings. This picture is Gordy's wedding. That's me on his back with JJ on the left, and then Matos on the far left. He's the taller, Daddy Longlegs looking dude. Next picture is JJ's wedding. I was the best man at JJ's wedding. And then we see Matos and Gordy there as well. And last but not least, we have my wedding. rocking my pink suit. That thing's sweet, by the way, huh? Yeah. And there's Gordy on the left, rocking a mullet. JJ on the far left, Matos on the far right. Matos is the only single one. We're still praying that he will find a lucky lady and settle down so we can be a part of his wedding. I actually had all three of them as my best men because I couldn't decide. And it's my wedding and I do what I want, so I made 3 best men, okay? Don't hate me. There's the only solution possible. But it was so cool how these were just kids in my small group in junior high. These were just acquaintances in junior high. But because of hanging out all the time, because of the effort we put into those friendships, they became my 3 best friends for life. And we're still extremely close. Those are my 3 best friends today. And I think it's super important. I just want to tell you a quick story because we got winter camp coming up, right? Anyone signed up for winter camp yet? Yeah! I just want to tell you a little bit of a mischief that we got in with my 3 best friends that ended up being one of my favorite stories and actually meaning a lot more to me today than it did back then. But back in, I think it was like 7th or 8th grade, we went to Forest Home. We didn't go to Palomar, but we're at winter camp. And Gordy, if anyone knows Gordy, he's a huge prankster, right? He loves pulling pranks. And so he's like, all right, let's do a prank. We all decided to do a prank. And I just want to forewarn you guys, we officially say no pranks at camp. And this story is descriptive, not prescriptive, meaning I'm telling you what happened. I'm not telling you what you should do, okay? So no pranks at camp, but we decided to do a prank. And I don't know whose idea it was, but we decided that we should get chewed gum and put it on someone's door handle, right? So they can't get inside their room unless they touch this gross mess of saliva and chewed gum. So we all spread gum out amongst our friends. We all started chewing this gum, and we all started spitting it in this cup. Throughout the entire day, there was like 100 pieces of chewed gum. But we looked at it, and we realized that it was all separated. And we're like, well, that's not going to do us any good, so we got to mush it together so we could apply it like one giant piece. But nobody wanted to do that, obviously, and I was like, okay, fine, being the good friend that I am, I'll be the one to mush it together. So I take all the pieces out, mush this gross saliva ball of gum up with like saliva dripping down my arm, like super gross, super disgusting, and then we decided to go out and find the door to put it on. So we're walking around, and I don't remember the reason why, but we decided not to even put it on anyone's door. And so I just meshed this whole ball of grossness and COVID and everything inside of it for no reason. I just walked around with it and had this gross saliva all over my arm. And now, telling the story, I kind of think that that was the actual prank, that all my friends got together, didn't tell me about it, and said, let's make him mesh all this stuff up, because I was the only one that lost that day. We didn't even get to actually prank someone. So it sucked, but it was one of those stories when I was young. It sucked in the moment, and I was really mad at my friends at the moment. But looking back, it was like one of my favorite experiences. And we were able to form this bond through summer camps, winter camps, everything we did together, all-nighters, to be best men at each other's wedding and take that friendship to the next level. So today we're talking about friendships, and I just think it's super important. I was able to experience these super awesome friendships, and I want you guys to do the same. So today we're going to be talking about how you guys can get good friends, how you guys can get great friends. But first, in order to understand how to get a great friend, we have to know what a great friend is, right? So we find out what a great friend in John chapter 15, verses 12 and 13. It says, "This is what I tell you to do. Love each other just as I have loved you. No one can have a greater love than to give his life for his friends." So this book right here that all of you guys hopefully have brought or got from the back, this is a story about friendship. This is the ultimate story of God coming down, willing to give his life. But not only was he willing to give his life for us, he actually did. He actually gave his life for us. It says in that verse that there is no greater love than being willing to give your life for your friend. That's the type of friendship that I want. I hope that's the type of friendship that you guys want. I feel like I was lucky enough to have those types of friendships start in junior high. And so, if you look at your note sheet, we're going to be talking about how to get that great friendship, how to get godly friends. It's only 1 point. Are you guys ready for it? Are you sure? It's 1 point. Really quick, really easy. First point and last point on how to get godly friends is be a godly friend. The only way we can get godly friends is if we are first a godly friend. All right, let's pray. I'm just kidding. We're not done yet. It's only 1 point, but we got sub-points to this 1 point. Hopefully you guys are like, wait a second, how do I be a godly friend? And if you're asking that, thank you for asking that, because we're now going to go through 4 steps on how we can be godly friends. And I got these 4 steps from ways that I have seen God demonstrate his friendship to us, and these are ways that he also makes us his friend. We're going to start with step number 1 on how to be a godly friend is be encouraging. Be encouraging. Be encouraging. Just so you know, all of the verses we're going through today are on your talk sheet. We're going to be bouncing around through a ton of verses really quickly, so I won't be able to wait for you to flip to each one. So if you want to get a head start and kind of get a couple open, ready to follow along, that'd be great. But for this one, we're going to start in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 11. It says, "Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing." And then we jump to Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29, and it says, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen." So these 2 chapters are actually letters that a person named Paul is writing to these churches, right? He's writing to the church of Ephesus and writing to the church of Thessalonica. And what he's doing is he understands the importance and the effect that these words have on our hearts, right? He's very strongly encouraging these churches to use their words to build each other up and not tear each other down. Because he knows that those same words have the power to destroy churches. The entire church, it has the power to destroy an entire church. Imagine what those words can have on a friendship. I think this is important for all of us to know, but boys especially. We have to stop just being so destructive with our words. I know a very common humor technique for us boys, you're probably going to see me do it, I mess up all the time. It's something that I'm working on, is we like to make fun of each other and tear each other down as a form of humor. But it ultimately does more hurt than actual good. If you want to be known as the funny guy, learn how to be funny while building someone up. That's more skillful, that's more of a better effort, because tearing someone down in a funny way, it's just easy. It's easy, and honestly, it's boring. I'd rather see you be smart and learn how to be a funny guy while building someone up. That's the hard thing to do. So we have to be better in that area when it comes to what we think is funny and what's actually hurtful and destructive. Okay, we got our second step on how to be a godly friend is be loyal. Be loyal. We're going to start in Proverbs chapter 18, verse 24. It says, "One who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother." Does anyone have unreliable friends? People that flake out on stuff? Yes, it's the worst, right? Believe it or not, when I was in high school, those friends of mine up there, they gave me the nickname Flake because I was one of those guys, those friends, where I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'll totally be there. Just tell me when and where I'll be there," and then I just wouldn't show up, right? And now, looking back, I can see how those friendships suffered because of my unreliability. I stopped getting invited to places. They stopped talking to me as much. We just were never as close during that time. And why? Because unreliable friends suck. Nobody likes being friends with someone who is not true to their word. Make your yeses be yeses and your nos be nos. We're going to skip over a chapter into chapter 19, verse 6. It says, "Many curry favor with the ruler, and everyone is a friend of one who gives gifts. Who likes getting gifts? Yes. Whose favorite holiday is Christmas because you get gifts? Yes. It's okay. You can be selfish. I get it. Be honest. Mine too. So is this verse telling us that we just got to go to Dollar Tree and buy a bunch of stuff and just give it to people because that's what's going to get us friends? No. Unless you're giving me gifts, then yes, absolutely. You can buy me stuff. I will be your friend. But what this verse is saying, what if we, as our way of giving gifts, we gave the gift of service? We served each other. We served our friends. Who doesn't like getting served? Right? No one. Everyone loves being served. So next time you're with your friends, make sure you feed them grapes and carry them to the bathroom. I'm just kidding. That's not service. That's slavery, right? No, I'm talking about like joining your Salt and Light team, helping pick up trash at school, helping your friend with chores, letting your friend have the last slice of pizza. I know for some that's a lot harder than others. That's my hardest thing I have to do. I really love that last slice of pizza. But we have to be reliable. And part of being loyal is being reliable, but also being a servant to our friends. Our third step on how to be a godly friend is surround yourself with iron. And if you're a smart person, you probably noticed that the word on your talk sheet does not say surround, it says surround. I misspelled surround when I made this, so I apologize. Surround yourself with iron. Some of you guys are probably confused. That's okay. Hopefully it'll make sense in a second. We're going to pick up in Proverbs chapter 27:17. It says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. So back in the day when swords were a commodity, the way you would sharpen them is with a super hard metal that is similar to that sword, right? So the same way iron sharpens iron, so us Christians are only sharpened by other strong Christians. We need to surround ourselves with strong Christians so that they can make us better and build us better. But if we have friends that are more comparable to like a wet piece of cloth, what's that going to do to your sword? Absolutely nothing, right? It's not going to sharpen you. It's not going to do anything. If anything, it's going to dull you out. Are your friends that you surround yourself with, are they going to sharpen you or are they going to dull you out? Our last step on how to be a godly friend is love each other. Love each other. This book right here is a step-by-step guide on how to love each other. It's the ultimate example of what love is. So in order to love each other, we have to understand what love is, right? And we find out what love is in 1 Corinthians 13, chapter 13, verse 4 through 8. It says, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Is this the kind of love that is in your friendships right now? Are you exemplifying this kind of love in your friendships? Because if we can't do the simplest step of these four, which is love each other, if we can't do it, we're never going to be able to have godly friends. We're never going to be able to be a godly friend. We can't always be looking for that transactional friendship, right? The friendship that, oh, I'm going to be your friend based off of the benefits I get from you or how well you love me, right? But that's what culture says today. That's what today's society tells us. It says, do what makes you happy. Go get that bread. Do your thing, right? But in order to have God the center of our friendships, we have to start a new culture of doing what makes others happy. We have to start a new culture of servanthood, a culture of building each other up, serving each other, because that's what makes friendships great. That's what a godly friendship looks like. But we have to be careful, because once we start putting God in the center of our friendships, those friendships automatically become a target of the enemy. In this world, the devil is constantly trying to deter you from following God's plan. He's constantly trying to deter you from doing things God's way. So if we put God at the center of our friendships, that makes it an automatic target for the enemy. So in order for us to be aware of that and prepare for that, I got 3 tactics the enemy uses to destroy those godly friendships that I've seen in the past. The first of this tactic is busyness. Busyness. The high school pastor at Ramona, this is one of his favorite sayings. I don't know if he made it up or if he stole it. He probably stole it. But he says, if the devil can't make you bad, he'll make you busy. If the devil can't make you bad, he'll make you busy. Don't let the hustle and the bustle of this life take away from what's required to develop those deep and close friendships. It's the time and effort. We need time. We need effort. That's what's required to create these close friendships. And it's so easily forgotten, so easily left in the past when we get focused on the busyness of everyday life. Don't let busyness get in the way of developing and putting effort into these close relationships, because hopefully one day they're going to be at your wedding, they're going to be in your wedding, they're going to be a huge part of your life. The second tactic of the enemy is fear of transparency. Fear of transparency. Who's like me and hates being vulnerable? Being vulnerable. Anybody know what being vulnerable means? What does it mean, Fraser? What does being vulnerable mean? No, not being weak. What?
Showing how you feel, asking someone for help about.
Yeah. Being honest about how you feel and being honest about your true emotions. It's not hard, but it's so necessary. It's so worth it, especially or only if it's with those deep and close friends. I want to make sure you guys aren't running around telling everyone at church or all of your acquaintances or whatever your deepest, darkest feelings, emotions, struggles, stuff like that. But you guys need to have at least one person, one friend that is reliable, that you can confide in and share your struggles. Because the enemy wants you to feel alone in your struggles. He wants you to struggle alone. Don't let that feeling of don't let the fear of transparency keep you from being open and honest with your close friends. Our third tactic that the enemy uses is social acquaintances. Anybody know what acquaintances means? Yeah, you know them, like they're like you wouldn't say they're your enemies, but they're also like not really your friends, right? In today's society, we have so many acquaintances. Everyone knows everyone. You probably know everyone at your school or know of everyone at the school. You probably at least follow them on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, right? There's so many people that we know of at a very surface level. But sometimes knowing all these people at a surface level replaces the necessity and the feeling of needing those close and deep friendships. It's so easy for us to confuse quantity and depth. Depth is what we so desperately need in that friendship, not necessarily quantity. Choose to have those close, deep friendships over the mass amount of acquaintances. So, why is all this important? Why is being a godly friend important? Obviously, yes, it's good to have godly friends. It's good to be a godly friend. But the true importance is so much more than that. Why? Because being a godly friend shows the world that you're his. Being a godly friend shows the world that you follow Jesus, that you do things differently. You do relationships differently. In John chapter 13, verse 35, it says, "By this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." Here's the thing. You're showing the world who you represent by the way that you treat your friends. If a stranger off the street looks at the way you treat your friends, are they going to look at it and be like, dang, that person follows Jesus. I want to be their friend. Or are they going to look at you and go, there's no way that person follows Jesus? Because the way you treat your friends shows the world who you represent. It shows the world whose direction you follow. And some of you guys are probably sitting here thinking, okay, after hearing this message, I got to check my circle, right? I got to check my friends, reevaluate if these friends I have right now are the friends that I actually need. And for others, hopefully all of you, you guys are thinking, okay, I need to check myself. I need to check myself. Am I being a godly friend? Can people see Jesus in the way that I treat my friends? Because without God leading us on how to be friends, those friendships are going to be broken. They're going to be unfruitful. They're going to be energy sucking. They're going to be time wasting. But more importantly, they're going to be wrecked. God's way is the only way if we want to keep our friendships afloat. Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you so much that you have given us the ultimate example of what it looks like to be a friend. Thank you for sending your son to show us what the ultimate example of what love is and giving his life so that we can spend eternity with you. We love you so much. We're so excited to get back into the world, bring this church to school, to our families, represent you by the way we treat our friends, the way we treat our parents, the way we treat everyone. Let us be a shining light of who you are, and let us replicate your love for us. We love you so much, and we pray this in your name. Amen.